Yeah, super chilled, super chilled. I don't know if you've like listened to any of our other podcasts, but
I
we'll
have,
try and make it
yes.
just more of a casual conversation. But if you need to take a break at any point, like just take a break.
I think we are diving into some really deep things. So if I do lose my trail of thought for like 1 second, just give me a bit of time. I should be back on.
No, that's fine. Even if you like take some like time to think or whatever, we cut out that
That's
time
amazing.
in like the edit, so it doesn't come across like that.
Perfect.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Third Wheel. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron.
And I'm your other host, Hamish.
And today we're joined by a call out from Krishna's episode a little while ago. Mohit, how are you doing, Mohit?
I am doing great, guys. Thank you for having me on the podcast. You guys are honestly smashing it with this podcast.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And anyone new listening, go check us out on all socials. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All the links will be in the description. Go give us a review on Apple Podcasts, follow us on Spotify, etc. We release some clips on YouTube and all that. So, and also subscribe to our channel on YouTube. So, all that good stuff. Anything, Hamish?
No, you got it all there. I thought you were going to miss something, but you got it.
No. I could see. I was looking at you like I've got everything. But yeah, so me and you haven't actually met, Mohit.
No, we haven't.
No, but you and Hamish know each other.
Yeah.
Yes, I one of the first guys that I met when I came to university outside my course was Hamish.
Oh wait, what? The first person outside the course?
Yes. So I came to HinduSoc during the first, I think, week during Freshers Week, and that's when I first met you. I remember we had an interesting conversation. You done computer science.
Oh yeah. No, I remember that.
That's all I remember.
What was your first impression of him?
First impression, I can't even remember, to be honest. He was a very nice guy, very friendly guy, very approachable.
Mohit picked the most antisocial person there, and I just went to them. That's what happened.
So what did you say, HinduSoc?
Yes, HinduSoc.
Also, which year did you start?
I started in 2017. I was only there for 1 year. I done my masters at WMG, and before that I was at Hertfordshire University, where I done mechanical engineering.
Oh, so you only at Warwick for 1 year?
Yeah, I was only there for 1 year.
Oh, mad. I'm sorry you had to meet Hamish in that year.
Yeah, I was thinking
it felt like a very long time, to be honest, that 1 year. But I was only there for 1 year. In the good way.
What was better, Hertfordshire or Warwick?
I believe it was Warwick. I was at that place where I kind of understood how to work and how to be productive, and at the same time, I knew how to have a good time as well. So it was definitely Warwick.
Yeah, if you said Hertfordshire, I just would have cut out. Just stitched to the clip of you saying Warwick. No, that's cool. I think most guests that we have on that has met Hamish and not me, it's like wherever you met, it's like HinduSoc.
Yeah.
That's just the social space. But yeah, what did you said you did the masters at Warwick?
Yeah.
WMG.
So I done manufacturing systems engineering in Warwick Manufacturing Group.
The WMG building, the one with the good food.
Yeah, exactly. The nicer building of Warwick.
So what did you do for your bachelor's?
I done mechanical engineering. So it was a lot more technical and a lot more broad. And then I kind of specialized into manufacturing systems engineering, and that was my master's.
I was going to ask you, the WMG building where they had those cars, they had like the race cars and everything. Did you ever go into that place and work on those things, or was that something else, the electric one?
The thing is, a lot of research happens at WMG. Yeah. So like Jaguar, Aston Martin, all of these companies are there doing their automotive research, and they try to make Coventry like the new hub for the automotive industry, the new research hub. And that's why you have a lot of very nice cars, nice buildings, and a lot of professionals as well walking around. But no, I didn't get to do that, unfortunately. I just got the views, that's it.
Yeah, awesome. Does that kind of lead into like what you're doing now?
Yes. So right now I'm working in the aerospace industry. I'm working for a company called Safran Group. And when I was at university, when I was doing mechanical engineering, whilst I did like it, I didn't like the technical side of things as much. And when I went over to do an internship in my second year, I was working as a manufacturing engineer. And I found that it's like the link between the technical side of engineering and the business side. And it's like taking a design and making it into a product in the most cost-effective way possible. And that's why I ended up doing manufacturing systems engineering. So I started off at Peugeot Group, and then I went to Safran Group, and I'm working there right now as a manufacturing engineer.
Awesome. So you said like you did enjoy the technical side. Did you say there was a technical and business side? They're the two kind of...
Yeah, so the technical side of engineering is more so, or it could be more so sitting down, drawing designs, doing computational fluid dynamics, that sort of stuff. But I like to get up, talk to people. And that was kind of my interest from the very start, as well as the business processes. I did really enjoy learning about that. And again, that was more so manufacturing engineering. We do have an idea of the design and the technical side, but you're also in the more so the operations side of things as well. And the whole plan was that I didn't want to just be restricted to the manufacturing industry. I wanted to go elsewhere as well, like for example, working for Amazon or the service sector or something like that. And I can do that with a degree that I have.
Yeah.
For those not unfamiliar, what is the aerospace industry?
The aerospace, aircraft. They make planes, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. When we were a kid, I swear we used to call them aeroplanes. What happened to that? Like, how did that happen? Turn into airplanes?
We do call
I have no idea.
well,
I still kind of call it aeroplanes sometimes. I guess that's what we did, but when we were really young.
Yeah, I thought I was just dumb. Like when I was a kid, I was like calling it aeroplane.
I call them both.
Yeah.
Is that something you always wanted to do?
I wouldn't say I've always wanted to do it. As I said, I started in the automotive industry, and what I wanted to do was be a manufacturing engineer. And the role of a manufacturing engineer, it's quite similar across different industries. There are some differences, like for example, the company that I'm at right now, it's a bit less stressful compared to the automotive industry, which is a positive, but it's a lot more regulated. I'm sure you can imagine, everything needs to go through signatures, everything needs to go through approval loops, and rightfully so, because so many people get inside an aircraft at one point. But being in the aerospace industry, just learning about kind of the beauty of the engineering that goes behind these products, it's incredible. Like one thing we make generators for the aircraft. So I won't get too technical, but how
right.
these what these generators do is they convert mechanical energy into electrical energy. And the way it works is there's basically a stator which is stationary, and you have a rotor inside the stator, and that spins around. And the rotor and the stator have to be as close as possible for magnetic flux to really work and for that rotor to really spin. So this rotor spins at 29,000 times every minute, which is like 500 times a second if I'm getting my maths right, which is a lot, right? So if you imagine, a lot. But if you imagine, like, let's say the rotation of something goes off, if that happens, then the stator and the rotor can collide. And if that happens, that could be disastrous for the airplane. I'm not trying to scare. That doesn't happen. That's the that's
Don't
the
worry,
thing.
I was scared a long time ago.
No, it doesn't happen. Like all of these technologies, all of these components in the aerospace, they all have to come together in such a beautiful way for that aircraft to work. And going into aerospace, you learn about this and you just really appreciate the engineering that goes behind it. And apart from that, there's a lot of interesting things happening in the aerospace industry right now as well. Like they're trying to electrify aircraft, so they're trying to make an all-electric aircraft. And it's still going to be a very long time, like 20 to 50 years, especially for large aircrafts like the A380. Plus, there's flying taxis as well. Safran are working with Boeing on trying to get these flying taxis, the prototype of these flying taxis out there. So there's a lot going on.
I was gonna say, I remember when I was going to visit Aaron in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Me and Bax were on the plane, and they tell us the plane is going to be held back a short while. Whilst we were sitting on it, we sat down. Everyone's all like seatbelted up, and they tell us, there's currently a fault with the plane, so we're just getting the engineers to have a quick look at it. I'm like, no, and I can't be going to. I'm not dying on the way.
So
to
you are in the air, right? You are.
No, we were about to take off, and then they told
that's
us.
Okay.
I was just like, nah. But I'm like, back to like, we're going to see Aaron, and you're telling me we're risking our lives like this, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I asked him like mid-flight because I was waiting for them to sit, because we were basically right next to the fire exit. So the people, what do you call them? The people that walk in the airplane, those
flight attendants.
Walkways.
Yeah, the flight crew. Yeah.
Flight crew. Yeah.
Yeah. So since they basically sat right in front of us, I asked them that what was the fault. Yeah, and I guess they were trying not to scare others. They were like, there was just a bit of an issue with the landing gear. Like they said it was like nothing. I was just like, that's a big issue as far as I'm concerned.
That's a big issue. Yeah.
If you can't land. I hear a lot of stuff because I'm not a massive, like, I get on, if I need to like go on holiday or need to go somewhere, I'll get on the plane. But I'm not like a big fan of them. Is it like, I hear a lot of people saying, it's actually like safer than like driving a car like on the road.
Yeah.
Is that like bullshit, or is that kind of true?
I don't know the exact stats, but it's very unlikely for you to actually die flying in the plane. It's very, very unlikely. It does happen. I mean, as I said, these systems are so complicated that something can go wrong. But because of the amount of regulations that govern the industry, it rarely happens. And we see examples like on TV, aircraft investigations or something. It's just one in so many. that go through this process where there's a disaster that happens.
Yeah. I don't know if that makes me feel better, to be honest.
No, that's just because what you're saying is like there's so many rules and everything that every single test and every single thing that passes. You know how your code that you write, Aaron, you have to write tests and stuff. There's like hundreds of other layers before it even gets allowed to put actual people in it.
Yeah, but my code, like,
your code is shit, man. Don't.
If my exactly. If my website breaks, it isn't killing anyone. You know what I mean? Like, no one's dying from it.
No, but what if you write code for the aerospace industry? What if you write code for the aircraft?
It's a rip, dog, and that aircraft.
Yeah, just don't employ me. You know, whoever's out there.
We'll make it look nice, but it's a rip.
Yeah, I'll give a nice error message, but no, let's move on a bit. Let's go back to like uni. So like for people that don't know, we like prepare like the episode. We have like a few notes and all that kind of stuff. One thing you pointed out in particular was KCSOC, and your involvement with them. First of all, what is? I don't think I've heard of KCSOC. What is that?
So KCSOC is the Krishna Consciousness Society.
Okay.
It is part of the ISKCON movement, the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. It's based on the Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita, its principles have long been popularized in the Western world. But now it's the book as a whole as well. It's becoming more and more popular in the Western world.
What was that you said? You said like Parma Gita?
The Bhagavad Gita, yeah. The Bhagavad Gita, it's one of the most popular religious books for Hindus. It's a very, very old book. I Googled it yesterday, actually. I was just wondering. I know it was very old, but they say it's over 5,000 years old. And what it basically entails is Krishna, descendant of Lord Vishnu, he gives his disciple Arjuna spiritual wisdom during the Battle of Kurukshetra. It's a very small part of the Mahabharata, and what it does is it answers the major questions that we have about life and existence. So that's basically a summary of it. And it's been making incredible people for thousands of years now. And the movement, as I said, it's picked up a lot in the Western world since ISKCON was founded.
Okay, were you like heavily involved in it?
Yes, so I come from a Hindu Brahmin family, and a religion or spirituality. So I'm going to use these words interchangeably for now. I do want to get into the difference between the two. But they were always the center of everything that we did. So, for example, I went to New York a few years ago with my family. And in the 6 days that we were in New York, we went to 3 different mandirs, right? On top of that, I was always a very deep thinker. And I liked asking the bigger questions of life. And I'd done this as a way, I wanted to use it as a way to gain more success in my life, but also more happiness and fulfillment in my life. Coming back to your question, KCSOC, it's the kind of events that you have, they're very applicable to your everyday life. It's not like the traditional religious societies that you have on campus. Like, for example, HinduSOC, a lot of people just go to HinduSOC to meet people that grew up in a similar household to them. And to be honest, a lot of guys just go to check out goes. I said it. I take it back.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because that is true. That is true. And not for myself, but I know that's true.
Yeah. Sure, wait.
No. Everyone knows. Okay,
no. Aaron, if that wasn't true, why would I stay for the talks?
Because you realize they're all taken, so you're like, oh, fuck this.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but with KCSOC, it's a lot more applicable to our everyday lives. Like the kind of events that you have is what would you do if you had 24 hours to live? So it really gets you thinking that if I had 24 hours, what really fulfills me? What makes me happy? Emotional intelligence, it's about self-love, love versus lust, meditation sessions. So all of these things that are very, very applicable to our everyday lives.
What would you do if you had 24 hours to live?
What would I do? I always struggle to answer this question, to be honest. But I would probably try and find a way to live longer. What about you guys?
I guess I'll go for that. I would just make sure that any of the savings and stuff like get properly transferred to my brother. That money from the life insurance and everything will smoothly go on to them.
Yeah.
Because obviously then it's going to be a hassle for them to get the money that they obviously need from life insurance. I'd rather make sure it goes as smoothly as possible for them. And hopefully that's it.
But yeah, man, I recommend anyone that's at university to definitely check the society out. It is an incredible tool, the kind of stuff that you learn for self-improvement. And I feel like everyone should, to a certain degree, have a self-improvement mindset, right? And one aspect of it is it's there to nourish your spiritual body, right? You have 4 main bodies. You have your physical body, you have your mental body, you have your emotional body, which is like the link between the physical and the mental, and then you have a spiritual body. And all of these are very interlinked with each other. And what KCSOC is, well, parts of it nourish all the bodies that you have, but it's a spiritual society. It's there to give you the tools to nourish your spiritual body.
Wait, before we carry on, Aaron, what would you do in your last 24 hours?
To be honest, when I first asked you this question, I was automatically thought like 24 hours is in the world was ending in 24 hours. So like everyone had 24 hours.
I understand.
But if it's just myself, what would I do? 24 hours. I'll just try and like meet everyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe just organize like a big. I'll just get all my friends together and be like, oh yeah, smack tonight, yeah.
What, you just drop halfway through the queue, like you don't even get into smack?
I'll just be like, look, I've got 24 hours to live. Just let me in. No, not smack. That's dead. Somewhere else. I don't know. Old Trafford. Go see the boys. I don't know.
You could try walk up to the village where the Man United players live, and then you could die in the center of it.
That's a bit weird. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just probably try and like meet everyone that I want to see before I die. Do you know what I mean?
Super cute.
Yeah, see, that's a nice a nice thing. But it'll be a bit awkward, and I'm just like, yo, yeah, by the way, I'm dying.
Bro, the panic you'd send everyone in when you just collapse there, and we're like, what the fuck just happened to this guy?
No, I made sure I wouldn't die like in front of them, hopefully. But yeah, or I would be like quite stubborn about it and be like, okay, no, I'm not dying. Like, take me to the hospital, figure out like, or freeze me. I saw.
You mean cry? You know, like cryo? Is that what you're also saying?
Yeah. There was
cryotherapy or something, right?
That technology is not like perfected for you to be.
Yeah, I know. But like, I saw it was actually Bazinga, Ethan Payne. I don't know if you know who that is, Mohit, but like some YouTuber, and they were doing some reaction video, and something happened. Someone survived. Whatever. I'm waffling. Anyway, he was asking the question like, if you had the choice to freeze yourself now, basically, like this technology was perfected, and you could then defrost or whatever they say, unfreeze in like 100 years time, would you do it? Because then you could see like the future almost. Like
there's at least one person I know that did it because it was on the news a few years ago. So basically, this girl had a condition that couldn't be treated in our age, and realistically, the cure for it or the fix for it wasn't going to be developed for probably at least 20 to 50 years or something. So they let her, with the parents' permission and her permission. Well, obviously she wanted to do it, and then her parents gave permission and the boards gave permission, and then they let her actually be cryogenically frozen. But they don't know if they can even bring her back to life the correct way. Like they'll obviously try, but the technology isn't perfected, and there's no guarantee even after she wakes up from the cryo freeze.
But how would that like biologically work? How are you going to function?
I think they replace your blood with some anti-blood freeze thing, and then they replace your brain with some equivalent liquid inside it, and then they fill you up in a liquid, and then they literally slowly freeze you. They basically take you down to like, I don't know. Basically, they have to put anti-freeze things so your blood doesn't fuck up, because your blood can't actually be frozen.
Okay.
Properly.
Like that stuff you put in the window of your cars.
No, not like that.
But let's forget about the science. Let's just say it works.
Would I do it? No.
Like say not right now because we're quite young, but like saying you've lived your life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
just let me go out.
But like you have a chance to like just see what it's like in like 2156.
I'd rather you put my mind in a computer so that it can live in a computer, like an AI. So my mind lives on, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's some messed up Black Mirror stuff.
So your face is just gonna be like a Google or Alexa or something.
Yeah.
But I can roam freely wherever I want.
Okay, I don't know how that would work.
Because I can also then create a simulation and live in paradise.
Okay, I think my answer might also be like, nah, just let me die. But I don't know if I'd be like, okay, take my brain away and like, use it or whatever. I don't know. To be fair though, I'm dead, so like, do what you want. What about you, Mohit?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think paradise is right here, right now. So.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Maybe like once COVID is over, but
yeah.
But yeah, we've tangent a bit.
Yeah. Regarding like religion versus spirituality, like some people define it, I guess, to be kind of like the same thing, or you're like spiritual if you're religious. Yeah. So what would you say like the differences are between religion and spirituality?
Yes. So I actually wanted to ask you guys this. What do you think?
Well, I don't really understand much about spirituality, but I think like they are two different concepts, because religion is like a set of things that are written somewhere and then interpreted and passed down, and then you can either follow those or you don't. And then spirituality, I think, is trying, from my understanding, is trying to like, I don't know how to say it, but like be one with yourself, trying to be more like, I don't know, like find that center of bliss or whatever it is. I don't know how to really word it. That's what my understanding is, but I barely know anything.
Well, we had a guy called Ambrose on the podcast a little while back. We touched on religion a tiny bit, but we mainly talked about spirituality. And the main kind of, I don't know if this is the same, I don't know if they're like different types of spirituality, but this one was kind of, we were talking about like out of body experiences a lot. And
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
stuff
that's
like
part
that.
of it.
Okay. But yeah, before that, I probably would have linked them quite closely together.
Yeah.
Not out of like knowledge or anything, just like, yeah, I don't know, just like believing in something kind of thing, like the whole concept of
Makes
believing
sense.
in something. Great.
For me to define spirituality, depending on your experience with it, you might interpret it in different ways. But the way I like to define it is it's a connection with yourself. It's a connection with God. If you're not comfortable with the word God, then the connection to the universe and a connection that we all have with each other. Now, spirituality, we are all spiritual beings, right? And the best way that I found to explain the importance of spirituality in our lives is imagine making a building or building a building on on mud or on sand with a weak foundation. Now, let's say there's a storm that comes into your life, that building will collapse, right? Because it doesn't have a strong foundation. But now, let's say you make the same building on concrete with a strong foundation. Any storm that comes into your life, the building might sway from side to side, but it will stay intact and it won't collapse. And this is the idea of spirituality, that you need to try and find peace and happiness within yourself. And once you find more peace and happiness, or happiness and fulfillment within yourself, then you stop trying to find it outside. And it's when expectation doesn't meet reality that there's a problem and we become upset. So the one like point that I want to kind of hammer home today is you don't need to be of a specific religion to nourish your spiritual body. So like whenever we say religion or God, a lot of people, I don't know, the way society is now, they just run away from it, right? And we've come to a point as a society, we see religion, we see God, and we don't really like the concept. And religion is not the problem, it's the misinterpretation of religion by everyone. So the point that I wanna make is that you don't specifically have to be of a specific religion to start nourishing your spiritual body. You can take very small steps to start the process, right? So, for example, I know so many people that have this really strong foundation that I keep talking about that are not of a specific religion. Anyways, I'm going on a bit of a tangent, right? The difference between spirituality and religion. So, yeah, I agree. They are both the same thing. In essence, what religion truly is, it's the same as spirituality. When the rituals of religion are done with spirit behind them, it becomes spirituality, right? So, it's become a fashionable thing now where you see a lot of people write or say that I am spiritual, but I am not religious. And I kind of understand where that's coming from because, as I said, there's this misinterpretation of religion. It's like, people are like, I don't want to do all of these rituals and I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it. It's a mere ritual. There's no spirit behind it. So Gaur Gopal Das, as someone that's quite high up in ISKCON, so KCSOC is part of ISKCON, as I said before, but he explained it very well. There's a question that's often asked, that why are there so many rituals in religion, right? Especially Hinduism has so many rituals. And it's not only in religion that we have so many rituals, it's in life as well that we have so many rituals. For example, you sing happy birthday to someone on their birthday to make them feel special on that day, or you give a rose to a woman on Valentine's Day. I'm not sure if that still happens, by the way, but you give a rose to a woman on Valentine's Day to express your love for her. But now let's say you go to a woman and you tell her that I love you, but you're just saying it like you don't really have anything behind it. So it becomes a mere ritual, right? But now let's say you have a deep sense of affection behind the three words, I love you. Hamish, I see your face. I love you, brother. No, but
he's thinking of all them girls,
if you have that spirit behind the three words, I love you, then it becomes spiritual. Now, do you see how that works? Like spirit, SPI, ritual, spiritual, right?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea behind this is we need to ask the questions that why do we do these rituals in religion? Why do we do that? And we are generally ignorant of the reasons behind it, but we just follow it. And it needs to be more of a effort by people that are teachers in religion, and to a certain degree our elders as well, for them to actually explain to us why we do these certain rituals. And then if you do these rituals with spirit behind it, these religious rituals, it automatically becomes spiritual.
Mad. Also, what is ISKCON as well? ISKCON is
ISKCON is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness.
Okay.
It was founded by Prabhupada in the 70s. So at the time, I believe he was in his 70s, and he went to New York, and he was told by his guru to give the words of wisdom in the Bhagavad Gita to the Western world. And it's basically the movement that started then and has become more and more popular ever since.
okay. Now back to the thing where you said about the rituals and so on. So like the thing is, like in Hinduism, there's so many different rituals, but each like different part of India, for example, would do the ritual in a different way. And obviously that's down to interpretation and how it was passed down.
Yeah.
So like, do they still accomplish the same thing? Like,
yes. So the rituals that you do, no matter what religion you come from, they all are meant to nourish your spiritual body. That's the main aim behind all of it. So as I said, whether you're Hindu, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, Buddhist, Sikh, you can nourish your spiritual body by doing the rituals in each of these religions. If you're not religious, there's other ways to nourish your spiritual body. So yeah, there are many ways to do it, and these rituals are kind of passed down for generations, and it teaches us how to go about it. It's like there's different rituals in different countries, right? India might have a different ritual in terms of society, like singing happy birthday. I'm sure that's a ritual everywhere, but it's very similar to that.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier as well, like how you have like 4 different bodies.
Uh-huh.
It was physical one, mental one, spiritual one, and emotional one.
Yeah.
Can we go through like each of them?
Yeah, so the physical body is obviously it's your physical body right here that you can touch. Your mental body is your mind, through which you learn things, through which you gain experiences. Your emotional body, as I say, it's a link between the two. The best way I like to explain this is imagine so when it comes to stress, when you're stressed out, some triggers might stress you out even more compared to other triggers. And at times, we don't need to be stressed or anxious about something, but we still are. And that's basically part of the emotional body, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the spiritual body is something a lot deeper. It's often we don't think about the spiritual body as much, but it is a foundation to our lives, as I mentioned. But as I said, we are all spiritual beings, and it's that connection that we have with ourselves.
I was also gonna say, like, I saw yesterday, like, there was like, because my parents watch obviously the religious TV shows. There was a bit in the middle where I just kind of looked and I was reading the subtitles, and it was like, unsatisfaction can like lead to jealousy and so, but when one is like content with themselves, yeah, like they were showing like 2 small different villages when the gods took form and blah 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 was visiting, but these lot are content with themselves, so like they'll be happy. They don't look for any other external factors or so. But in this case, this other village, they're unsatisfied, so that leads to them being jealous of others, and then they will never properly find happiness and so on.
So it's a difficult process, right? To to completely find peace and fulfillment and happiness within yourself. I listened to a podcast by a person called Radhanath Swami, and Radhanath Swami is quite high up in ISKCON as well, and he has an incredible story. In the 1960s, he grew up in Chicago in the 1960s. In the 1970s, he left to gain spiritual awakening. And in that time, he was only 20 years old. When he was in Greece, he walked all the way, he hitchhiked all the way to India from Greece. And he talks about this story in a book called The Journey Within. And it's a New York Times bestseller. I recommend it to anyone. I actually had to read it myself as well. But Radhanath Swami, he came up with 3 main ways that we can nourish our spiritual body. And it is very, very tangible. And when I saw this, whenever I looked at religion or spirituality, I was always so overwhelmed. I'm like, there's so much going on. As we earlier spoke, there's so much, there's so many ways that people have defined. But everything kind of falls into these 3 main things. So similar to how we nourish our physical body, we would eat good food or we would work out. To nourish our mind, we would learn something new, we would do our degrees. Similarly, we had to nourish our spiritual body as well. And the 3 things that he said, number 1 it's the friends that you have. You want friends that inspire you, that uplift you. As an example, if someone wants to quit alcohol, they'll join an alcohol group, and quitting becomes so much easier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of people that you are around, it does really impact you. Number two, it's your spiritual practice. So again, whatever religion you're part of, if you're not religious or if you're not part of a religion, then it could be the practice of meditation. There's so many proven benefits to meditation. It could be reading books. I recommend this to anyone, and these are self-improvement books. They don't generally have to be spiritual books. It could be something like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but it really helped me grow my spiritual foundation. And number 3, it would be service. So I know a lot of people have come to your podcast to talk about the charities that they're part of, and it's so incredible to learn, right? But yeah, it's the charities that or the service that you do through these charities. It's living life with integrity, living life with compassion and kindness for other beings. So yeah, it's very tangible. And once you start doing all of these things like jealousy or greed or anger, they start coming down. And again, you start finding more of that happiness and fulfillment within ourselves. And that happiness and fulfillment is something that is permanent, rather than the materialistic things, which is just, it gives you only temporary satisfaction.
Kind of answer my question. I was going to ask, how can I nourish my spiritual body?
Yeah.
Like, how did you then get into all of this?
I think I've always been like this to a certain degree, again, because of the way I was raised. And also, I didn't just want to be religious. I always say this. I wanted to use it as a tool to gain success in my life and gain more happiness and fulfillment. And that was my aim. That's always been my aim. So it's kind of a way of self-improvement. But the more I get into it, the more I kind of find ways to gain more happiness from your spirit.
Yeah. Have you found like it's helped you, like in particular moments, like maybe difficult moments in your life? Or
I believe so. So when you like get rejected from places like after university, once I graduated, it took me, I think, 3 months. I finished in September, but it took me 3 or 4 months to get a job. And at that time, I got rejected left, right, center. Every single company would reject me. And it's just in times like this, you start to have a positive attitude. Like, oh my God, this interview, I got rejected, but I learned so much. He's such an amazing person. And I can use that to go into the next interview and use that knowledge to maybe gain success there. If not, then there's the next thing. So in that way, it has helped me. And it's helped me in many other subtle ways as well.
what about Hamish mentioned it earlier?
Uh-huh.
Or maybe it was you, like meditation.
Yeah.
Is that a spiritual thing?
Yes, it is a spiritual thing. The idea behind meditation, there's so many different forms of meditation, but it is to connect with your spiritual body. A lot of ways that we are currently doing it in the Western world is we are trying to focus on our breath or a certain sound, if it's guided meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And like this, your focus increases, your concentration increases. And there's a book, I recommend this book to everyone out there. It's called The Power of Now. And it's the idea that we need to try to stay in the now as much as possible. They say depression happens if you live in the past. Anxiety happens if you live too much in the future. But if you live in the moment, if you live in the now, which is a very difficult task to do, but it can really help us gain a lot out of every single day.
Yeah.
And that practice as well, it's meditation, the practice of mindfulness. It's not just sitting down 10 minutes a day and focusing on your breath, but it translates to every moment of your life. So when you're giving a presentation at work, to just really be focused on what they're saying, or even when you're driving to work, to be focused on the road rather than have all of these thoughts in your mind. And that's what mindfulness is. It's being present in every moment.
Hey, should you consider yourself a spiritual person?
So I guess like this is one of my things about I don't understand spirituality, I guess, fully. So
yeah, because I guess you're saying, Mohit, is like we all are, but whether we kind of it's like the misconception of whether we think we are. And
so I always said that we are all spiritual beings, all of us. And to a certain degree, for example, Hamish, I'm sure helping someone else must make you feel happy, right? And that's because our true nature is to love and to be loved. And that is the only permanent thing that gives fulfillment to the heart. So we all, to a certain degree, do try to nourish our spiritual body, but sometimes it gets masked by other pleasures or other worldly pleasures that we have in this life.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe like,
because if you asked me that at the beginning of the episode, like I probably would have been like, no, like not. And then if you probably like asked me a bunch of questions, you'd probably be like, okay, maybe you are a bit spiritual, you are kind of.
So like
I don't
it's
know.
basically I'm trying to understand from the definitions that we were given. So like in terms of like there's a physical, there's mind, there's emotional, and then
Yeah.
you said the spirit which nourish by ritual. So I guess if back in the day you was going to a temple and just going around in the loop and then praying, if that counted as nourishing that spiritual self, then yes. But
Yeah.
then otherwise I wouldn't know. I don't know if I actually do
It's
anything
kind
to
of like
nourish.
if you're saying like if there was like meaning behind it, or if
Yeah.
you were just like saying words for the sake of saying words.
Exactly. If you're saying words for the sake of it doesn't have as big of an impact as you would like it to have. But again, like as I said, spirituality, it doesn't just have to be praying to God. It's so many different things that we do that I'm sure everyone does to build that strong foundation within.
Say if you're like an atheist,
Uh-huh.
how would someone be spiritual?
So again, referring back to the 3 points made by Radhanath Swami, it's the friends that you have people that uplift you, that inspire you. Number 2, it's the spiritual practice that you have. So whether this be meditation, whether this be reading self-improvement books. And number 3 is a service, helping other people or living life with integrity, character, and showing compassion and kindness to other beings.
Yeah. I think this is a spiritual podcast, you know?
We're diving deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna ask as well. There are obviously a lot of apps that help provide meditation / mindfulness /
Uh-huh.
spirituality. Wait, we're not sponsored by any Just Skype, but if you want to sponsor us, do let us know. Hit us up. But yeah, like, do you use any apps or do you just like read the books regarding it?
So when I first started, I used to use Headspace. That's an incredible app. Right at the start, it kind of guides you through meditation. There's many meditation sessions that you can do on YouTube as well. So, for example, if you have a certain problem that you're trying to tackle in your life, you could say guided meditation for whatever that problem is. Right now, with me, I try to do mantra meditation, and this mantra is called the Hare Krishna mantra. And what it is, it goes Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And the words are meant to be of a different transcendental vibration, and that's why it makes it easier for you to connect with yourself. So I'm trying to do that now. I do it in my car in the morning, so on the way to work, and that's not, to be honest, the most effective. Ideally, you want to sit down.
I do think it's become more of a, I don't want to say trend, but it's like being spiritual,
Yeah.
like with like meditation. I feel like meditation has become like really popular recently.
Definitely, it has, right? We live in such a hectic world right now. There's so much going on. So just taking that time out for ourselves.
Yeah, I feel like spirituality and people like exploring that side more has become more evident. I think before maybe that might just come with like us becoming older. I feel like it might have almost been seen as, if I was in school and I was like said I was spiritual and like all that kind of stuff, I probably would have been seen as like a bit of a weirdo.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I was thinking as well, like, I think one of the things that make it harder to even include like a spirituality and like all this. So one of our friends who's not religious, they see it in a very scientific way and logical way only. So like, they don't believe in God, etc. But so like, there has to be some sort of science or something to believe it. So they wouldn't obviously believe in magic and so on. So
Okay.
yeah, like I think like maybe like that scientific view or that logical view, until if you can only see it in that way, maybe it makes it a bit more difficult to understand.
Yeah, I think if people do explore the spiritual side and it like helps them, I don't see any harm in it. It's all for the good, right? We got here as well, like kind of your experiences growing up and self-love, and you mentioned self-improvement as well. Does that kind of tie in with the spiritual side?
Yeah, that's a part of it. Loving ourselves is very important. To jump into when I was growing up, I'm from Luton, and whilst I'm from a pretty nice part of Luton, the school that I ended up going to, it was the roughest school in Luton. My parents wanted to send me elsewhere, but because my brother and my cousins went to this school and it was very close to me, I somehow convinced them that I wanted to go to that school. And they're like, okay, Mohit, if you want to go, go. But if there is a problem in the future, you can always change schools. So going in the first day, you realize that, hey, this is the real deal, right? So as an example, a lot of people that I went to school with right now, they're in prison for things like drug dealing. Or one guy sat behind me in maths, he got done for assaulting an elderly person in the town centre. One guy got done for burglary, again in my class, for, I think, design technology. And another guy who was in my brother's year, he got done for terror charges, right? So it wasn't that in college something clicked and it's like, hey, I want to be a criminal for the rest of my life. But they had this mentality from the very, very start. So as kids, they were very aggressive, very confrontational. So I don't want to get into all the good stuff or the day-to-day.
I was going to say, you and Hamish can relate. Apparently half his school's in prison as well.
Oh, no way. Wow. But you kind of understand why they did what they did to a certain degree. You don't accept it. I mean, committing a crime is wrong by in every way, but you understand because a lot of these kids, they've come from very difficult backgrounds. They've come from abusive parents. They've come from broken homes. And when you hear more about their lives, you can't help but be compassionate towards them. And there's a long-standing quote. I believe Mahatma Gandhi said it, and he said that you want to hate the crime, but not the criminal. And for the longest time, us as a society, we've always hated the criminal, but that doesn't really get us anywhere. We need to understand early on what the problem is and then try and solve it. But anyways, I'm going off again on a bit of a tangent.
I'm actually going to say, before you continue, you should actually watch this guy called Callout when he speaks about, I guess, some of this stuff. It's not related to spirituality, but related to some of the stuff you're about to speak about. Is that a lot of the people who are in prison, because he was talking about in relation to race, but it's there's not that they're black, that they're going to be criminals, it's that they grew up in care. So if you look at the amount of people that are in prison that grew up in care, that's a way more.
Yeah.
That's a way more.
So that's the thing. We need to give these kids more time. We need to make them feel loved as well. So we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot as a society by not doing that. Anyways. Yeah, so there are a lot of benefits to going to a place like this. You built a lot of resilience. You had a very positive mindset towards life. So any challenges that I had, not any, but most challenges that I had later on, I had a positive mindset towards. And you meet all the people that you don't want to be like early on. And then later in my life, I met all the people that I do want to be like, which comes as a very good balance. But on top of this, I mostly hung out with only a few friends up till the end of year 9. Then we changed buildings and things became a lot better. But on top of this, I also fell ill after coming back from India in year 8. I still don't know what it was, but for 6 or 7 months, I was just, going to hospital, visit after visit. I was falling behind academically. I wasn't able to do sports for almost a year. So, there's a lot going on, right? So many storms happening in my life. But I remember for the longest time that even though I had so much going on, I was always very happy, right? So I used to go home and I just had a smile on my face. I asked myself that question. I'm like, there was so much going on for a young kid. That's a lot. But why were you always so happy? And then I went to a talk last year by a person. It was in KCSOC and it was emotional intelligence. It was about self-love. And it was by someone called Nitya Kirtan Das. And he was my mentor for a very short period of time. But he's an incredible person. He's a life coach and therapist now. I do want to give him a shout out as well. But it was about self-love. And then something clicked. And it's like, hey, it was self-love that helped me through this time because I had so much of it. And why I had so much of it, a part of it was because my parents instilled a lot of self-love into me as a kid, and my brother and my whole extended family to a certain degree. So, for example, even now when I go to work, my mom's like, Mohit, you should be proud that you can get up at 6:30, do a whole day and then come back home. I'm like, everyone does that. People wake up at 5. People come back home after 12 hours. But who cares if everyone does it, because you do it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you should be grateful for and happy that you can put in that work. And on top of this, I remember I used to say this one line to myself every single day when I was at school. And that was, Mohit, you are the best. Mohit, you are the best. It sounds a bit cringy right now saying it. But later on in my life, I found out there's something called affirmations. And affirmations are based on the idea that everything that you say to yourself is a sort of self-talk. And you should have it as positive as possible. Even the music you listen to a certain degree. So I was giving this self-talk to myself throughout school. And that really helped me develop my self-love. And it's, I believe, becoming a more and more important life skill to have as a society because we forget about it so much now. And there's so much going on. So many companies that want you to feel insecure about yourself. And in a world that kind of wants us to hate us, it's the daring thing to do to love ourselves, right?
Yeah. No, I can definitely I can remember loads of times where I've been in a situation and I've said to myself, okay, Aaron, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely get that kind of positive kind of talking.
It's
to yourself.
That self-belief and push. I was going to quickly ask you before I come back to that point as well. You said, this is linking back to the previous topic mixed with this one. So the spirituality one is that when you surround yourself with people, so obviously you didn't have a choice with a lot of the people you're surrounded with, but I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
it dragged you. Did it drag you down? But did it not drag you towards or levitate you towards that lifestyle or whatever went on in their lives afterwards? Or like, how did you stay distinct from it? Because obviously the people around us shape.
So as I said, I for the most part stayed only with a couple of friends that were really good guys, and whenever I couldn't, I also stayed by myself quite a bit. And I don't know why I had this wisdom back then that I only wanted to surround myself around people that uplift me. But that's basically what I did. But no, it does. I do understand it does become difficult even now in my life when I'm around people that are not the best and not as inspired and as uplifting. It is a difficult situation to be in.
Yeah, I feel like it was Hamish. You were basically saying like, how do you not end up in prison?
Yeah, because I'm saying like, obviously like when you grow up in those kind of schools, yeah, like you have to understand that it's very easy to get levitated and get dragged into the wrong friend group
100%.
once, and then because as a kid you kind of like it's easy
I
to kind
agree.
of shape your mind and get lost, brainwashed, blah blah blah. So that does obviously shape a lot of the way you think and a lot of the things you do. So like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna quickly tangent really quickly. So like
Yeah.
in my case, like obviously I was like I don't want to be like these pricks here, but whilst there was a positive attitude to get me to where I was, like I didn't want to be like them. I wanted to be the best at what I do, and yeah, and like I wanted to just be the best. And now, yeah, like that, in that sense, it was good. But there was a lot of negatives that came from it because it came out of like you could say anger, hatred, desperation. But like, yeah, so like in those environments, it's like not simple, and I'd say it's more damaging than it is like thing. But like obviously, then good things can come if you if you find that patience and you work for it, like you can get there. But obviously, that self love thing is quite
Mm.
interesting to hear because I couldn't have imagined that saying like like I could imagine myself telling me nah I'm the best I'm gonna fucking do it, yeah, but
Yeah.
I couldn't like imagine myself like in the terms of like I guess maybe referencing it as self-love
Mm.
back in like for example
Yeah. Yeah. But it is basically self-love. I do see what you're saying. But yeah, even going to college, like I didn't have the highest self-confidence and I struggled with self-confidence. But because I had so much self-love, I used to really push myself out there, and then developing self-confidence wasn't as major of a challenge. So it helps with every aspect of your life.
Yeah. I agree. Like self love is like really important, but like, is there like a point where it's like because you also hear a lot like, oh, this person loves himself so much,
I
and
know, I
that's
know.
like a negative thing. They say that in a negative way. It's like, where's that point?
Ego, right? If it's too much, then it becomes ego. At that point, I feel like you're not loving yourself, but you're more so loving this ego or this fantasy that you have. So that's the line that you wanna find out that when am I when am I starting to show an ego about something and being obnoxious to other people or thinking people are below me, because at that point then it becomes more of an ego thing as opposed to self-love.
yeah. So I remember like a while back, yeah, like someone was asking like how do the likes of like Chunks and Mao Jama have the energy that they do? They wake up at like 6 a.m. and they love like they're in this absolutely like loving and energetic mood, yeah. And
Yeah,
Chunks was like, yeah, like basically if you find what you love to do, like if and you love what you're doing as your job and whatnot, then finding that energy is like it just comes naturally because you love doing what you're doing. So you're always going
yeah,
to be gassed, energized, and so on for it. Which is why people like herself can obviously come through with that energy. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
So how would you say like is the best? Say there's someone listening who doesn't really. If you ask them like, do you love yourself? They'd be like, no. What would you kind of advise?
so again, I'm going back to this talk, Emotional Intelligence by Nitya Kirtan Das. He pointed out 4 things that we could do, and it's the SPAM acronym that we have to remember. So the SPAM acronym entails number 1, you'd stop criticizing yourself. So a lot of people think that if I criticize myself, I'm going to get to my goals quicker, but that's not the case. It doesn't work like that. If you criticize yourself, it's actually going to be harder to reach your goals. Number 2, pat yourself on the back every time you do something well. Number 3, affirmations. So you want to say an affirmation like, I love myself unconditionally, and you want to say it, I don't know, for 10 minutes or 5 minutes every single day, because then this self talk will start to help you love yourself from your subconscious mind because you're saying it so often. And number 4, every time you look in the mirror, big yourself up. That's it. That's
I read
it.
this all the time.
That's amazing.
I do the like Pam side of that spam.
Okay.
I did the last 3, I think, or like I have, but the first one as
Yeah.
well. That I do criticize myself. like as well?
I know. This is a question that I asked.
When you criticize yourself,
Yeah,
don't you find it
I
irritating?
don't see it as a
No,
bad
of
thing
course.
when I criticize myself,
But what I mean by criticizing yourself is bad self-talk. It's okay to sometimes summarize that, hey, you could improve here or you could improve here. But for example, when a baby starts to walk, you don't, every time it falls down, you don't shout at the baby, but you kind of clap it on, right? Hey, get up, get up. You could do it. It's similar to that.
okay, so it's like criticizing, but like hiding it as encouragement, almost like
Yeah,
disguising it.
exactly. And having that bad self-talk of, oh my God, Mohit, you're useless. You can't even do this. That's where it becomes toxic for your self-love.
Yeah. No, I get that. When I'm watching like the football, I'm not one to like. I see myself as less of a criticizer, but more of a. If someone misses
Yeah.
if someone misses a chance, I'll be like, no, it's okay. You get another one. Do you know what I mean?
And this is a continuous process, to be honest. It's something that I struggle with as well every now and then. So it's something that you have to do every single day for
Yeah.
the rest of your lives, right?
Yeah. No, I get that.
So wait, so like at uni was the time I'll say like you open your mind to a lot of the stuff. So like at a young age, it's quite incredible that you were at least thinking in this way. And obviously you may not have known fully, but benefited you in a big way.
I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, Warwick University, to be honest, it had its own set of challenges. I was very lucky that I didn't get involved in any of the drama.
Wait, is this
But
Hindu sock drama?
no. This is not Hindu sock. I don't think there was much drama in Hindu sock. Was there?
I mean, I didn't go into. I only went for prayers and I effed off. So like, I got to tell you.
Hey,
myself.
Hamish prefers not to speak.
What? Don't drag me to this.
But yeah, no, because it's not anything wrong with Warwick University. Actually, there are a few things.
Yeah.
But it's more so to do with top universities, and every university to a certain degree, but especially top universities where there's this over competitiveness. And when there's over competitiveness, it can lead to a toxic environment. So, like, for example, me and you, Hamish, were talking about school. In school, like, when someone would say something, they would say it to your face. But here, someone would stab you behind your back. And that's a lot worse.
I feel
so
that.
you do have to be careful.
Yeah.
Mad. Is that why you started wrestling? Getting back.
Wrestling. I'd done it for a short while before, obviously, lockdown and everything happened. And unfortunately, in wrestling, you can't keep a 2-meter gap between each other. So I wasn't able to. I haven't started it. I'm going to hopefully start at the end of next month again.
That's my. I'm gonna say, Aaron, that's also the best transition you've ever done. Well done, mate.
Nah.
But yeah, so like wrestling. When you say wrestling, I always think of the fake wrestling.
No WWE.
Okay.
No WWE. Actually, I would want to be like the next Shawn Michaels or something. I don't know. It'd be quite cool. But no, not that. It's freestyle wrestling. So do either of you watch the UFC?
I'll maybe watch highlights here and there.
Yeah, I'll watch it when it's like, like a really bigged up like fight or something.
Yeah.
I'll give it a watch.
Wrestling as a combat sport, it's become more and more, or wrestlers that come to UFC, they start to dominate very easily. And this is one kind of reason I started it. It gives you a very strong foundation into combat sports. So when I was a lot younger, I did do a bit of taekwondo for 4 or 5 years. Then I went and did kickboxing for a very short while. And now I've done wrestling as a kind of a way into other combat sports like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And, when I was young, I used to watch Jackie Chan movies and Bruce Lee movies. I'm sure you guys to a certain degree felt the same way, where you're just so motivated and you're like, oh my God, I want to learn. So yeah, that's what kind of led me to doing wrestling. It's a base, it's a foundation to other combat sports.
Are you planning to become a UFC fighter?
No, I'm not planning to. I just do it because it's a lot of fun. You meet amazing people. The thing is, right, in combat sport, it's very strange, but you meet the kindest people. Like, they can break your hand in like 20 different ways, but you meet like the kindest people.
But they'll shake your hand after. Well, maybe if you break it, not. But yeah, good fight.
Reason why I don't like try and watch a lot of those fights live is because the adrenaline rush that it can get going. It's not good. It's not good.
What, you would like watch a fight and be like, oh yeah, what else? Okay,
no, like, because you also get into it like too much, and I'm just like, nah, you know what? I don't need to feel that adrenaline right now. Leave it be. I watch the highlights afterwards.
Sometimes I just watch it. I'm like, why? Like, why are you just punching this guy's head? Do you know what I mean? Like, no, but that's cool. How much do you think your diet helps you, or maybe doesn't help you?
So I am a vegan. I've been a vegan for. I done it after university. I done a very slow transition after university. It took me like a year and a half where I was drinking 1 liter of milk, then 0.8, 0.6, 0.4.
What were you before? Were you vegetarian or just?
I was a vegetarian, yes. So I've been a vegetarian my whole life. And this is the kind of advice that I have for people that might want to make the lifestyle change into veganism, that you don't have to do it overnight, and it's not an all or nothing approach, because it is a lifestyle change at the end of the day. And the last thing we want as a vegan community is for someone to become protein deficient or something and then complain on the thread on Facebook about how it ruined their lives, right? If you do it smart, if you do your research, then it's going to be incredible. For me, I feel like I've been bulking for a very, very long time, and I've always done a very clean bulk. Like, I made sure I did my cardio, not to overeat, not to eat too much fat. But recently, I've been properly vegan, I think, for 7 months, and I think it's really helped me put on a lot of muscle very quickly. And going into my training sessions as well, I always feel more energetic. I feel like I have more stamina. So it has had a lot of positives for my physical side.
Are there any benefits to like not just your physical body? Like I've heard people say like even it helps them like mentally.
100%. So you know how I was telling you earlier that our nature as humans is to love and to be loved. And when animals are killed, it's not compassionate, right? So when it comes to, I think it's a very strong connection, I feel, but it's a very hard connection to make. But when you become vegan, you're doing good things for the environment. As a result, your mind would naturally be able to be more clear of all the suffering that's happening, or be more clear of the suffering that's happening.
Yeah, I didn't really think of it from like a mental point of view. But yeah,
But in terms of your physical health, like things like bloating, things like, so I used to get bloated a lot on a vegetarian diet. I just drink so much milk all the time, and that stops happening straight away. Not straight away, to be honest. It did take a bit of while, because on a vegan diet you generally have a lot of fiber, and you have to become more fiber tolerant. And once you do become more fiber tolerant, it's incredible for your body.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, one of the ways you can slowly do it is like just try to find more vegan food places and try the vegan options a bit more as well, so you have other options, because obviously you're gonna always, I guess, meat is may like always go for the chicken option or so on. Whereas like I quite like finding veg-less vegan options, just because like I feel like they taste nice. It's just like one of those things in society where it's just been given that mask of like, like, how do I say it? Like, it's given that mask where it's a shit thing to do. But I always say like, no, like I'm not vegan yet, but I mean, I would want to be vegan, but I just know that's not going to happen, especially living at home. But like, I always want those vegan choices outside, because like it's nice, and if people say like it's shit, because, or like don't force the vegan on that, whatever, like go do what you want, but like that vegan food is actually just really nice. I just think it's like kind of brushed over too much, like, because people are under the impression, like as you said, like there's kind of myths. So I did want to bring up the post that you shared this morning actually, and it's top 5 vegan myths debunked.
Vivo Life, did you say?
VIVO, however you...
okay, I thought you were talking about like the music video thing.
No. Yeah, I'm not going to read the entire thing. I'll just link the post, because I actually can't be bothered reading out all of this. So the first one is like vegans don't get enough protein, and it's like essentially that's kind of wrong, because there's a lot of whole food vegan diet that will provide plenty of protein, and some examples include 2 teaspoons of peanut butter, half a cup of oats, 2 teaspoons of hemp seeds, whatever that is. And 1 cup of soy milk. That's a very basic example. And people think that myth number 2 is plant protein is inferior to animal protein.
So there's different type of proteins, right? And they're saying that you can't get all the sorts of protein in a non-vegan diet, but that's not the case.
What are some plant-based proteins?
So it's the amino acids that compose the proteins, and they're saying that specific amino acids are not included in a vegan diet, but that's not the case, because at the end of the day, those animals eat that grass, and then we eat those animals. So we, in that sense, get the same protein from plant protein as well as eating meat.
And myth number 3 is vegans rely on supplements to stay healthy, and this is apparently bullshit as well, because it says vitamin B12 and D3 and omega 3. It gives a few points, like, omega 3. The only reason fish has so much of this is because they eat algae. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? Algae, how you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Like vitamin B12 isn't actually, I guess, the bacteria found in soil. Due to modern farming methods, we no longer get this in our foods.
Yeah.
So B12 is found in animal product because they are given a supplement.
There's too many vitamins out there, man. There's so many names. I get confused, Mike.
Oh yeah, vitamin D3 is just basically if you don't get enough sunlight. is basically the short version of it. So that one.
Yeah.
Myth busted there as well. Also, this post will be linked in the description if you want to read through it fully. We're obviously just doing the short version. Myth number 4 is following a vegan diet is too expensive. And this is bullshit because vegans don't only...
Is that bullshit?
I mean, well, it basically says vegans don't only eat expensive processed fake meats or dine out in gourmet vegan restaurants.
You know, fake meats are very expensive, but obviously I don't eat any fake meats, so
Oh, that's what they mean. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Most eat whole foods that are significantly cheaper than meat products, and they give like a list of like prices for like certain whole foods.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would say like vegan food when you order out isn't expensive, but like vegan milk is, I'd say, quite expensive.
You gotta wait for the sale.
Yeah.
For the sale. In sale, I think they're like £1 or £1.50.
It's also quite tough because recently,
Hamish shops at Waitrose, so
yeah,
it's a bit more
I
expensive.
don't. Now I have to like basically buy the cold version, not the long life version. Like before I used to buy the long life version, and it's very hard to get. After COVID, basically they no longer kind of do massive shipments of it. But basically in January, I remember I ordered like, when it was £1, I ordered like 40 or something.
Oh wow!
Wait, what?
So 40
plant-based milk.
So like cashew milk, but that didn't need to be in the fridge. So like I just had a Sports Direct bag in the room.
Does it still go out of date though?
It has like an expire date. So the ones I had, like they went out of date in October, but obviously I finished them by then.
You know, I don't like cashew milk too much.
I think cashew milk's the best one I've had out of them. The only time I've had anything maybe remotely close is one of the American almond milks when I was in San Francisco, but nothing comes close to to cashew milk for me. I don't know why. I feel like it's because maybe the slightly thicker, more like milk, maybe. It tastes better. But obviously, if you don't like it, then fair enough. Wait, what do you like? Almond milk? If you say UK almond milk, then you're on crud.
No, I generally have oat milk because oat milk has the most number of calories, so I have oat milk.
I see. Like I've heard things about oat milk, but I feel like my experiences with oat milk have been bad so far, so it's quite bother trying again.
So I overkill. I put oats and then I grind it with oat milk. So
okay, fair.
double oats.
Proper overkill, yeah.
The next one, the myth number 5 and the final one here is vegans are weak and lacking in energy. And it says more and more of the top athletes in the world are embracing a vegan diet to help them perform at their best. So just the 4 examples they gave is Lewis Hamilton, one of the most successful Formula 1 drivers in history. Serena Williams, maybe you adopted it recently, one of the two. Serena Williams, who has won 23 Grand Slam tennis single titles. Morgan Mitchell, an Australian Olympic 400 meter and 800 meter sprinter. And there's Kendrick Barris, double American
weightlifter.
So
yeah. Have you watched the documentary Game Changers on Netflix?
No. Aaron most likely would have.
I highly recommend that. It's basically about how it's debunking all of these, similar to We Were Life, all these myths about veganism. And it's also going into how you can be an athlete with a vegan diet. And it is backed up by so much science. There's so much science behind it. I'm not seeing a documentary that refers to so many studies. So it's definitely a must watch.
Yeah, that's mad. You said Lewis Hamilton, Serena Williams. Like Lewis Hamilton probably going to become the most successful Formula 1 driver of all time. And then Serena Williams, who is, I think, is actually the most successful like tennis player, not even just female, just like most successful tennis player of all time. Can't believe they didn't mention Chris Smaldini, but we move. Yeah, what would you say is like? So you kind of mentioned it. Like, would you just say like phasing into it is the best way to get into that kind of lifestyle?
I would say, do it slowly. Make sure you do your research. It doesn't have to be as long as I took, but make sure you do your research. In terms of the tools that are out there to help you, there's something called a Daily Dozen, and these are 12 things that we need to try and include in our diet. It includes fruit, vegetable requirements, water, sleep, all of that good stuff. So to structure it on something like this would be quite helpful. Also, there's something called chronometer, right? And Aaron, you mentioned earlier that you are so overwhelmed by the number of vitamins and minerals, all of that you have to have in a day for a healthy, well-rounded diet, right? So what chronometer is that you can put all the foods that you have in a day inside, and it gives you a breakdown of all the protein, fats, carbs, as well as the type of protein, carbs, and fats, as well as the minerals and the vitamins and how much you need. So from that, you could use that to make sure that you have your correct calorie intake. If you're bulking or if you want to put on muscle, then you'd go over. If you want to cut, then you go under the calorie maintenance. But that's a whole different thing. But chronometer is a very good tool to structure the rest of your diet. In terms of the challenges that I faced on a vegan diet, so number 1 is protein. So obviously, Hamish, we just talked about this right now. If you just try and have a protein source with every meal that you have, you should be okay. if you need more protein, then you could get something like a vegan protein powder. Bulk powders, vanilla flavor, that's the one I recommend. Number two, it's obviously, you mentioned vitamin D as well. You can get that from sunlight, but us living in the
Yeah.
UK, we're barely getting any sunlight. Plus, on a vegan or vegetarian diet, you can't get as much anyways. So supplement it. Vitamin B12, again, you can't get much of that on a vegan diet. Supplement it. It's water soluble as well, so if you have too much, I don't think it's a problem. But don't take my word for that. I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist or anything. And number four, it's fiber. When you first become vegan, you're going to be getting so much fiber, and that can lead you bloated. That can lead you waking up at night and not feeling too well. So just be aware and mindful of how much fiber you're having in a day. Don't have too much, and you should be fine. And slowly your body will start to adapt to the new high levels of fiber that you are having. But that's about it. That's all my advice.
I was gonna say, although I'm not vegan, like I transitioned to milk like overnight. Like I just switched to vegan milk, and I wasn't say it just
Yeah.
takes. You just have to find what you like, but yeah, or you
Exactly.
could do it as Mohit said, like you could do it in phases. But for me personally, I don't understand how you did it in phases. Like, did you drink milk multiple times in a day or something? Like, how did you?
No, so as I said, I had almost a liter of milk every single day, and
Bro.
I didn't do it overnight because I couldn't find the motivation to do it overnight. Like, how was I going to cut out cheese, yogurt, all that stuff, and just to cut everything out overnight was just impossible. Whey protein, vegan protein powder tastes terrible until you actually find the kind of vegan protein powder that you like. And that's why I done it over time, because slowly I started getting used to plant-based milk. Slowly I started getting used to plant-based yogurt, and I guess it was to a certain degree more of a motivation thing than a research thing for me.
Like one thing I found was that when I was like testing vegan foods and cooking it myself, like finding the right brand of tofu for yourself,
Yeah.
like some people like the one I prefer, the one that's a bit more
Uh-huh.
firm. It does have a texture that's a bit more off, but like when it's after it's cooked and everything, it's way better than all the other tofus that I've at least had brand wise. So
Yeah.
like I'll leave a link in the description. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but yeah, like I know like my friend who was doing like a veg. He was doing a veg veg gym diet whilst he was here. So he was a previous guest, Krishna.
Mhm.
And he would basically, when he switched to the tofu one, he said he was loving the tofu, but he didn't like the
Yeah.
one that I used, the texture, for example. But like it was a better tofu and it tasted
Mm.
better and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's also dependent. Like you just have to find the things
Yeah.
that's I guess suited to you.
Yeah. Have you
But
found any benefits, by the way, of having more plant-based food as opposed to dairy?
yeah, I mean, like for me personally, like I was obviously trying to figure out obviously any issues with stomach and so on. So like I was just like,
Yeah.
for me, I just feel like in the morning, like I feel like milk is always like, as you say, like it's one of those bloated and heavy things here.
Mhm.
But with like cashew milk or an alternative milk here, like I think
Yeah.
cashew milk at least lets you have the kind of like the creaminess and the taste of it, but it does taste better, as I said. But the other ones are more lightweight. Like, what benefits? I can't think of like negative things. More, if anything, like I feel like it's just been better. Like in general, like I don't remember the last time I actually had a normal like cup of milk. So because that would have been like early uni, and I don't remember when exactly that transition happened. So I don't know. Like the only thing I'll say is like I still obviously have ice cream like here and there, like in summer, because but like I have had vegan ice cream. I'm just waiting to find the vegan ice cream that I like, so I can completely use that one every time I
Mm.
buy ice cream.
They don't have it in Waitrose.
But they don't have a Waitrose in my area. I'm not richy like you. They probably have a Waitrose next to you, fam. What are you on about?
Wait, Hamish, where are you from?
I'm near Stonebridge/Wembley.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. So trust me, there's definitely no Waitrose here.
And what about you, Aaron?
I'm from London.
Oh, yeah, Essex. Essex. He just said.
The thing is, like, when I say transition to like milk, I'm not vegan, but like,
Yeah.
I just have certain things that I know I prefer vegan food over thing anyway. So like, when in the inevitable time in the future I'm living out and so on properly, I would want to be ideally just making vegan food and so on. It's just that right now the inconvenience that would cause to the household for me to live this lifestyle is too much. But yeah, like I pretty much stay veg when I can. What is like other things? I'd say like, you know what? Yeah, like the alternative, like not like meat substitute, but like corn and like tofu and stuff, and like this. What was the other one? I forgot the other one. I think it's called Satan. Like these things are really
Yeah.
nice. It's just like underrated. Like I feel like, or it's just brushed over because no one wants
I
to do
actually haven't tasted seitan yet. And tempeh as well, right? That's another
I
one.
don't think I've had that one. What you said, but yeah, I would
Does it
definitely
taste similar
recommend
to tofu?
Satan. I think it tastes more like what it's meant to taste like. Obviously, I haven't had certain foods that Satan is meant to mimic. But from the smell, like you could also tell that it smells the same kind of. But like I'd say
Okay.
it's quite nice. I think we had it when Tam came on and brought us during the episode when we used to do in-person recordings. She brought us food from Temple of Satan, and that food
Yeah.
was lit. Like I was doubting like having it, and then I was like, oh shit, I love this place. We need to actually go and eat there.
You know, when she first said Temple of Satan, I didn't realize Satan was like a vegan thing. I thought it was talking about Satan as in the devil.
No, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Then I found out afterwards as well. I was like, raw. But it is lit. I'd say like if you can find places that do decent tofu that you may like, then definitely like it. So like obviously one of my famous examples I like to talk about is the banana tree vegan, the Malaysian vegan tofu. I can't pronounce the full thing, but it's like Malaysian something vegan tofu satay.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend it. I think you could the Nando's imitator wrap or whatever now, you can also get in the vegan option for it, the vegan version of it. What I do right now is I've been ordering both a chicken wrap and imitator wrap. And then I cut them both in half and have half of each of lunch because I can't decide between the two.
Uh-huh.
Like I might as well get just the imitator wrap now at this point. But basically I'd have half of each and then for dinner I'd have the other half of it. Because that way I don't have to be indecisive. I can just have both and that's my lunch and my dinner sorted in one go.
Big money moves there. Just get one of each.
And you're helping the vegan community by doing that as well, you know?
Yeah, I think the imitator wrap is better than all of the other veg options / vegan options at Nando's right now. So yeah, and I think the best option previously I thought was the super green after they removed the original veggie wrap back in the day. So yeah, like the imitator wrap, I would say give it a try. Quite nice. I'm not sure if it's properly vegan. I think you may have to minus the sauces in that come with it or something. I don't know. Double check. Don't quote me exactly on it.
Yeah, awesome. We end it all off with like some final questions, a call out and a shout out. So you start with the final questions. And first one is one thing you would wish to change in the world.
We generally live life very reactive. My thing would be we need to live more proactively. So for example, when someone contracts an illness, they finally start taking care of themselves. But if they took care of themselves from the very start, then they'll be in a better position. So there's this massive culture going around right now where it's like, you know, you want to fail to live life. You need to be heartbroken to really understand what love is. Or you need to be at a very low point to finally be happy. And you know that is a way to do it, but that's not the only way to do it, and it's not the most effective way to do it. So it's to learn from other people's mistakes. There's a very famous quote. I forgot the person that said it, but it goes, "The fool never learns. The smart man learns from his own mistake, and the wise man learns from the mistake of others." So start learning from the mistake of others. Life is too short to make so many mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Wise man.
I'm interested to hear. And the next question is, what is the happiest moment of your life so far?
Sitting here right now with you guys.
Hey. Do you know what? I'm not even going to ask you for a serious answer because I'm taking that serious.
Yeah,
third question is, what has been your most memorable third wheeling experience?
So this one doesn't count, right?
No, this one don't count.
Yeah.
Probably as a kid when I was 5 or 6 years old. I forgot exactly what age I was, but my brother is 9 years older than me and my cousin is 6 years older than me. So they always used to have so much banter. They used to go to all these places without me. So it's probably a time that I told my mum off and she had to go at them to take me with them as well. And they had to, I think, take me to a mall in Milton Keynes or something. So that's probably it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and the next section is a call out / nomination. So you can nominate one or many people to hopefully be a guest in the future on the third wheel.
Okay, I want to nominate 2 people. Number 1, Adiksha Agrawal, who went to Warwick University with us. She's a close friend of mine, and she came to the UK from Dubai when she was 17. So I'm sure she has so many amazing stories. The second person is Harsh Kataria. And Harsh Kataria was the president of the KCSOC when I was at Warwick. And now he's the president of the KCSOC National Students. I don't know, he's president of something in KCSOC right now. But if you want to expand on the topics that we talked about today, maybe on the science of spirituality, I'm sure he has so much interesting things to talk about.
Did this guy do computer science?
Yes, he did. That's the one.
Wait, what's his first name? I'm just going to quickly stalk him.
Harsh Kataria.
And one of the years below us, Aaron. That's what it is.
Cool. Last bits now is a shout out. So basically anything you want to plug, anything you want to give a shout out, we'll put the links to it in the description. So floor's yours.
Sure, just my Instagram. Follow my Instagram, get me to 2K followers.
Yeah, that's mad. You got a bit of a following going on there. And if you follow us listening, go follow us as well. I'm going to shout out. So I told these guys I'd give them a shout out, the Silicon Valley Interns podcast. So for those who don't know, you probably do know because I've mentioned it about 100 times, but I worked in San Francisco for a year after I graduated, and that was a part of the Silicon Valley internship program. So 2 guys from that program actually started a podcast recently. I'll put the link in the description, and the first episode is with the founder of the program that I was on. So go give that a listen. And hopefully they'll be on both of those guys will be on the podcast as well, on our podcast soon. So yeah, shout out to them. Hamish?
And yeah, then obviously I'm going to shout out my normal songs playlist. I've added a few in there, such as Back to Back by RV and Heady One, Intro by Dappy. He released a new one. And there was also another one second. Oh yeah, there was Shaka, One for the Road. And yeah, that's it from me. Thank you for listening, everyone. Hope you had a good time. Cheers for coming on, Mohit. And you've been an amazing guest. Teaching us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good meeting you as well.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, sweet. And on that note, everyone, have a good day. See you in a bit. Bye.
Turn around in the mist, cause you might see something but fog. And allow all the tricks, go. I can see nothing but love. You hit and you miss. Go, what's up? You spot and you red. I'ma call you Ladybug. Turn around in the mist, cause you might see something but fog. And allow all the tricks, go. I can see nothing but love.